Board of Commissioners meeting to order. It's September 4th, 2018, and it's now 5 o'clock. I'm going to ask everyone if they would stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance to God. Father, we thank you again for the opportunity to come tonight and be about your business. We are thankful for the privilege to serve, that people would elect and appoint us to these places of honor. And we pray that tonight as we listen to the business, so that you give us wisdom to discern and make those decisions that are pleasing to you and that will best serve and represent our community. So guide us now as we meet together. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an agenda before us tonight. I'm assuming there's no corrections or additions to this agenda.
No change.
Do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion Mr. Lopez, second Mr. Deloach to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the agenda, we have, it carries. Consideration to approve the minutes of the August 21st, 2018 regular commissioners meeting minutes. Any corrections or additions to the minutes? Have a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Lopez to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. We welcome the public tonight and encourage you to make any comments regarding the agenda items, but please only to the agenda items. If you keep your comments to 2 or 3 minutes, that'll help us greatly. The special presentation will be a little bit longer. But for anyone else, if you keep 2 or 3 minutes, it allows everyone to speak. Mr. Burdett is with us up here tonight. He's an appointed commissioner to fill the term of Mrs. Jones. We do not have a judge here to swear him in this evening, so he's going to sit here and listen and learn. He will not be voting tonight, so if you hear him say he abstains or just sits quietly, you'll know why he is not voting tonight, but he will just listen and learn, and we'll get sworn in tomorrow, maybe the next day, and he'll be ready to vote for his constituents in his district at our next meeting. But welcome. Good to have you. The documents for this meeting are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. I hope everyone's had a chance to review those and prepare it adequate for this meeting. And with that, even though it's a little early, I think Mr. Blakely is here. Okay, Mr. Blakely, would you like to come and speak at the presentation this evening to the board?
Yes, sir.
My name is Jimmy Blakely. I live at 135 Magnolia Drive off of Goshen Road. My motive for being up here this afternoon is to talk to you all about the industrial development that's being put in down here on McCall Road across from the Blandford School. I've been to several of the IDA board meetings, talked with one individual that's on that committee about protecting the surrounding neighbors of that IDA that's being put in from noise, air pollution, and stuff like that. And I talked to one individual before I went to the meeting, and he asked me to get up some material about soundproofing for industrial parts and things like that, for different types of industry. So I did, and I took it to them, and they were real nice to me. They let me speak, but I felt like that it fell on deaf ears. I was told later by one of the board members that it's too early to be thinking about, things like that, noise, pollution, and stuff like that for the surrounding areas. Well, I don't think it's too early. I don't know if there's anything put in place to govern the noise that these manufacturing facilities that may possibly be put in this area are these warehouses. I know if you're gonna have warehouses, you're gonna have big trucks and you're gonna have backup alarms. That's one reason I left Chatham County. I got sick and tired of listening to the backup alarms from the port. And I feel like, you know, I've been a couple of times and I feel like a worm in the ant bed there. They, you know, they were real nice to me and all, but I don't think that they're really interested in the noise pollution and air pollution. Case in point is the what's happened over there on the Ebenezer Road. I'm sure y'all well aware of the problems they've had over there with the, I guess you would say, the air pollution, you know, the stench that was those folks were having to put up with over there. And I was wondering if y'all could maybe come up with something or some kind of, I don't know, I guess it's already zoned for industry. I live about 1.5 miles as the crow flies from the place. And I'm real concerned about what's going to take place there, you know. And so far as I can tell, nothing's being put in place to protect the surrounding areas from noise and stuff like that. And I understand they're going to have a 100-foot buffer. 100-foot buffer of woods ain't going to keep the noise from penetrating out into the surrounding areas. So if y'all could shed some light on what's, if anything's being done, or if y'all could pass some, I don't know what could be done, but something, I feel like something needs to be done to protect those folks, us folks that live in that neighborhood. Thank you for listening to me. I know you probably get a lot of crying and complaining, but I appreciate y'all listening to me, and anything y'all can do to help us out in this matter, I would appreciate it. I have only been up here about 4 years, so I don't know a whole lot of folks. I didn't try to drum up a bunch of people to bring up in with me, but from talking to some folks that used to live in Garden City that live in that area, they're kind of upset about it also. So any consideration you folks could help us with, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for listening.
Appreciate you coming in. The IDA, it is, you know, zone industrial. They do control the industrial site pretty much. I think the reason they're saying they don't know exactly what they're going to require is probably going to be based on the industry that comes in. You know, is it a warehouse that's very quiet compared to, you know, not supposed to be smokestacks, from my understanding. And Commissioner, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding of that track C and D, which are the two tracks that would affect the Call Road area. My understanding that there not would be, you know, heavy industrial, which would be smokestacks and huge generators and those kind of things. You heard it be different?
No, sir. I mean, I have not, you know, researched that, so I don't know about the stacks or anything like that. But I do know that there is still zoning restrictions on it, and we will have buffers. And as they go through the building permit, there might be needs for berms or whatever it might be.
We can
for
also
sound.
look at that when that comes up, based on the industry that comes in there. You know, what we can require.
So there is something in place to try to protect us?
Yeah, I believe the buffer is 300 feet, not 100 feet around the industrial. So
How much?
300.
300?
Yes, sir.
Well, they sure got land cleared up real close to the road then. That ain't 300 foot, I don't think. I might be wrong.
I'm not sure what the buffer has to be. They may put up some, man-made buffers of some type. They may do reforestation. I'm not sure what their plans are. But to my knowledge, they don't have anybody coming in there right now. I know they're looking at prospects all the time.
Yeah, but I'm sure that the amount of money the county has invested there, that they're gonna try to get something in there. And I hope that something, you know, can be done to, where would I find out about that information that requires whatever's going in there to hold the noise level down?
Well, I would think Amanda might could help you with the information, give them a copy of what's required for industrial zoning and so forth.
Yeah, I could share that information. I also want to point out that in our zoning ordinance, we do have a section that talks about performance standards. And so these are kind of basic requirements that developments have to comply with in order to address noise, pollution, those type of concerns, basically setting a baseline for performance in the way that the properties and developments should function in order to mitigate, some of the impacts that it might have on adjoining properties. And I can share that information as well. And as development plans come into office for review, we always want to measure them against these kind of standards to make sure that adjacent properties will be protected.
Okay, thank y'all for listening.
Thank you for coming in, appreciate it.
By nature, noise is just difficult to measure.
Do you know what the industry is? and what they-
Yeah.
Pick up a little bit from there. All right, we'll move into our consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda. Consideration to approve to authorize the chairman to sign the safety verification form for ACCG workers' compensation insurance. Do we have a motion to approve the item for the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Floyd, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And that carries. Just a minute. Okay, moving to item number one, review business. Consideration to approve a memorandum of understanding between the Statesboro Regional Sexual Assault Center and Effingham County Correctional Institute.
Good evening, Fiona Charlton, purchasing agent. Effingham County Prison has an MOU with Statesboro Regional Sexual Assault Centre to provide victim advocacy services and forensic examination services. A new agreement has been received for fiscal year 19, which has a 30-day written notice termination clause for either party. The costs associated with the agreement would be for fees paid for services rendered and for a correctional officer to transport inmates. The service fees will be reimbursed to the county by the Georgia Department of Corrections, and the correctional officers' fees will be absorbed by the county. Fortunately, the county has not had to use the centre yet, but our PRIA counsellor reached out to them and was informed a visit would usually cost around $800. The MOU has been reviewed and approved by the county attorney. Any questions?
As we discussed earlier, that $800 is reimbursed by the Georgia Department of Corrections. Not only cost of the correctional officer that has to take them up there, and we think that's an officer that's going to be on duty, so our cost should be minimal, and we haven't used this contract yet anyway, it's just a safety need.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or discussions? Ms. Young? Got a motion to approve.
Making motion to approve alternative number one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Floyd to approve alternative number one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Item number two, consideration to approve a change order number one to Carolyn Carroll for contract 18-001-2018 road surface servicing.
On August 7, 2018, the board approved a contract with Carolyn Carroll for a 2018 road resurfacing. This change order incorporates the changes shown on the attached included in your packets, and it will decrease the contract by $10,648.20, bringing the total down to $1,475,988.95. When Sisters Ferry Road was removed from the contract, $17,000 of the traffic control item was spread along the other roads, which is the payment and performance bond premium. When the project is finally closed out and the bond is released, a credit will be made if necessary for the bond premium. Any questions?
A net reduction.
Yeah, one question we asked her, and she checked out for us, is that they threw all the traffic control with one item. It's just very, when I looked at what they were taking off, it looked unreasonable. But I think we'll work through that and explain that. And we will get a refund for the $3,000 or $4,000 in the bond cost of the projects. I believe I'm satisfied with what I saw.
And I'll get the information for you tomorrow with the invoice.
Do I have a motion to approve alternative number one?
Make a motion to approve alternative one. Second.
Mr. DeLuke, second Mr. Lucas, to approve alternative number one. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consideration, item number three, consideration to approve a service agreement and submission of work order number one with First Tryon Advisor.
Good evening, Christy Carpenter, Interim Finance Director. The county's getting ready to move forward with the bonds for the rec gym and the completion of phases 2 and 3 of the Clarence Morgan Complex. First Tryon will serve as our advisors for the development and execution of this transaction. Work order number one is for the capital planning model and the pre-planning services, as well as the transaction and execution. The cost will be a flat fee of $30,000. Should they have to travel down here, we will owe them reimbursement for those out-of-pocket expenses. The county attorney has reviewed the agreement, work order number one, and approved as to form, and we recommend approval.
So are we getting close to actually digging in now and having talks on actual planning of phase 2 and 3 in the gym?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different steps that are involved in there. The gym is the closest. In First Tryon, it's going to help us through the bond packages and negotiating the rates. And I believe they're going to save us much more than what the fee is. And we don't actually have to pay them directly out of general funds. It will come out of bond proceeds. So I think this is good to have someone on our side. But the answer to your question is yes on the gym. Not real close
I
on
want to make
phase
sure we're
2.
not putting the cart before the horse. I mean, we're definitely going to need to figure out how much we need, but if this is just bringing them online and have them prepared.
And help us plan for that, the structure of the bonds and how much we'll need. But we're really close with the gym, okay? But phase 2 and 3, you know, that still needs surveying and there's a lot to do before we get ready for that. But we'll probably bring in the gym first.
Okay, and in that process, I mean, we're going to have a workshop with the rec board and.
Yes, sir. And I've already had meetings with Director Morgan on that, so, you know, with some of the changes in that, we have a draft right now. There was engineering already done, or, excuse me, not engineering, but architectural design stuff already done prior to me even arriving here. We made some modifications based on the recreation's needs, and we'll have to get some better cost estimates as well. So, but we're much closer on the gym because we actually have a design that we could take to market. But we obviously need to bring that before the board and let you see it and approve it. But we're much closer. We should be able to do the gym before the end of the year. And the phase 2 and 3, we got some legwork to be doing.
So you say do the gym for the end of the year, we'll have the design ready for approval, so maybe go out for bids, what you're saying?
We possibly, what we're talking about is going out to the bond market to get the bond. And
I
then we
think
want,
I think what Mr. Deloach's question was, are we that far down the road on the engineering? Are we getting the cart for the horse? I guess it's a good question. Are we that far down the road that we have a design ready to
Because, I
go?
mean, this is a lot of money, and I mean, I'm just a little irritated that it doesn't seem like we've really been that involved.
Right.
And I want to make sure we're involved and
I got
we know
you.
what's going on.
The payment on this is going to come from when they actually issue the bond. So we're not, you know, putting out a bond and paying them out in advance, okay? What we're trying to do is get someone that's going to come on and help us model and help us prepare to try to determine if, you know, a $3 million bond is proper to do it separate or to do it together. And they're going to do a whole model, not just of the bonds for the new park, but they're also going to do a whole financial model for us with our entire budget. So
So the whole financial model will include securing the negotiation of engineering designs, we can approve what we want to do. I'm just making sure, where you're coming from, I want to make sure.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're involved.
And another thing too, this bond fee would only be paid, is contingent upon receiving a bond, right?
that's correct.
So they do all this work, I've got the question again. They do all this work to give us a schedule, if I read it thoroughly, they're gonna give us a schedule, how we're gonna go down the road. Everything from getting design in place and so forth. So when that's done, we don't owe anything until we have a bond in place. If we don't get a bond, we don't pay.
That's great. And Commissioner Deloach, as far as involvement I believe the board has already seen some of the designs. You know, we made some minor modifications for, you know, they had like a style A, style B, style C.
Commissioner Kiefer and myself have been liaisons on this whole project.
Mhm.
We have the 3 original designs.
Yeah.
The only design I have, the new one that you made modification on, is the one that Clarence Morgan sent me. I mean, you and I haven't had any conversations on it. Me and the other commissioners have not had any conversations on it. This is a lot of money. I want to get involved. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to get down to the final level and, hey, here's just the final design. We want to be involved. This is a lot of taxpayer money. We want to know what's going on. Okay?
Okay. So, but I want to make sure we're not going to pay for this and we don't. So, what I'm saying, I don't want to pay for this work and then find out we're not going forward with some part of this aspect and get to the engineering and find we can afford something.
But we do need to move forward too.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole project.
So this will determine how we're going to finance and what's our rate going to be, part of that cost analysis.
Yeah, and it's going to look at, you know, the cash balances and make sure that we can afford the bonds.
Yep.
Not just, I mean, obviously, we have a budgeting cycle, but this is a financial advisor to make sure.
Sure.
And I'm trying not to put the cart in front of the horse, I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to get sound financial advice to make sure that it's proper to bond this and not pay it out of reserves or something to some other extent. So I'm trying to go the other way with it than what it might appear.
So
It appears that you-
follow-up question, what point then would we get involved in so we can start looking at designs and discussing them and approving them? And is it 30 days from now when they start looking at some?
Sure. I actually thought we should have a workshop, you know, in advance of this. I also was talking about a town hall that possibly we could do that involved an update on road projects and other things. So I think there's other involvement that, you know, I haven't spoke to you at length in the last, you know, several weeks, but, you know, we're trying to move forward and get some sound financial advice is what this is about. And it doesn't cost us a dime unless we go to bond market.
So, might be good, Mr. Roach, if you and maybe Clarence, and I'd like to see a calendar of how we're going to move forward. Maybe.
Yeah. Good idea.
Why don't you reach out to Mr. Roach and let's get a calendar maybe of how we can get some workshops planned and schedule. I know my schedule so busy, but I would like to see a calendar of initial meetings and workshops and
Forgive me, have we contracted with HGB on the design for the gym?
No.
That's not under contract, I couldn't remember if that was included.
It was under contract with CHA,
Yes.
who sub to HGB.
so we do
Which
have
is-
design for the gym though.
We do, and, you know, obviously, we can make any modifications that we want, but
Might need to revisit
the
that.
modifications that were made to it, Commissioner Deloach, were very minor. They were basically, you know, the original design didn't have any stands. You know,